How does your body know that you're in the right room or in the wrong room? This is what we're going to talk about today.
Welcome to the Black Madonna Codes, a weekly conversation for women leaders who know the sacred feminine cannot be contained, sanitized, or erased.
Through honest conversation about how the Magdalene principles are woven through history, race, spirituality, and current lived experience, we're widening the story and honoring the many cultures that have carried this wisdom.
We're inviting you to open your heart with us as we explore the Magdalene path with curiosity, humility, and reverence for the lineages we carry.
So, how does your body know that you're in the right room? This conversation is so vast. And Deidre and I have been talking a bit about this over the last several weeks in relation to the tragedy that happened with Nolan Wells. If you haven't seen this in the news and things, you can Google what happened. We're definitely not here to talk about the ins and outs of what's going on. There's a whole investigation and stuff happening. But I've been turned on to all of these discussions by Black women and Black mothers in particular around how they're training their children about examining the room that you're in and how that's been an ongoing conversation. I'm the first to hear about it, being born as a white person in a bubble of privilege, recognizing that like the conversation around what kind of rooms to put yourself in and what kind of rooms to remove yourself from it's a different conversation based on how you were raised and maybe based on many other factors. I'm curious, Deidre, for you, like you had mentioned at some point, like, this is how I was raised. Like, what was it like for you, and what do you see where like people are teaching about children in particular about safe rooms?
I don't think we language it in that way so much. It's more, we don't use this language either, but it's more a conversation about cultural competency, right? And so, but that's a historical fact, like it's passed down from generations that Black people have to know how to take the temperature because oftentimes their life depends on it, right? Especially in the past, in the time of slavery and in the time of Jim Crow, et cetera, where you have to be able to read the room to know if this is a safe space. Can I speak freely here, or do I not have to? Can I not speak clearly? Can I not speak freely here? And so, the way that translates to conversations with young people is, it might sound like, don't embarrass me. That's something my parents would say. Don't go in this store and embarrass me, right? Or some kids get the, don't touch anything, don't ask for anything. Like before you go in the store, there's a whole conversation that happens in the car or before you get in there. Like, you're not going to fall out on the floor crying because you couldn't get, like, don't do that. And so there's this indoctrination that happens. And depending on if your life is set up in such a way where you are interacting with white people a lot, because some Black communities are especially in the past, have been kind of insulated. You didn't really have to deal with white people. You didn't necessarily have to deal with until you went into the workspace or something like that. But in your communities, you go to school with mostly Black people. Your neighbors are mostly Black people. Your church is mostly Black people. So like the places that you spend time, you're not really having to think about the perception, how you're being perceived. Are you perceived as a threat? Mm-hmm. Right? This is a thing. I have a really, really good friend who's tall. She's like 5'9". She's very dark and she's just always been a big girl. And she's always been, because we've known each other since we were 15, she's always been present to people. The mere sight of her can be intimidating for some people. And so it's something that she felt like she has to compensate for. So She'll manages her volume of her voice, or she'll speak slower, or just things like that, because she's aware that she needs to diffuse this before she even opens her mouth to say anything, before she even gets any feedback. She's just present to that. And so,
holy shit. I mean, I have to just interrupt for a minute. And like, I can only speak from my own lived experience, but like, I'm 5'11", and I've been 5'11" since I was 13.
wow.
So that was painful. It was brutal. It was awful. It was like ostracizing. My youngest daughter right now is going through a very similar experience. Not my youngest, my second to youngest, to the point that she decided to do all of her 8th grade online so she could go be in 9th grade. She'll be starting 9th grade as a 12-year-old. She passes as a 17-year-old.
Right.
And then I think about this movie, Tall Girl. You probably have. You even seen ads for
I didn't watch it, but I did see ads for it.
Okay, well, the movie quality is horrible. It's like embarrassingly bad. But it's about a white girl who's tall. And it was validating in the sense, watching it as an adult, like, yeah, that was my experience. And I'm feeling like a pit in my stomach as you describe the experience for your friend, because I've been in such a bubble. And I mean, this, contributed to eating disorders for me, lots of body image insecurity, like real issues. Like it was a real thing. But like I never, ever walked into a room and had to signal that I'm a safe person. Like that was never the case. And so I'm just like, I'm a little bit racked by that like difference in her experience and my own naivety to like, wow, like that's worse.
Right.
That's definitely worse.
It's the same thing as boys being told, don't wear a hoodie, don't run. Don't run. There's also a thing of the adultification of children. Like you were 5'11" since you were 13. Your daughter's tall. She can pass for 17. And I'm not tall at all. I was out with my daughter one day, and this guy was with his friend in a car, and he sort of drove past us, and he slowed down and he looked at us, and then he pulled over and he got out of the car and he started walking toward us like he wanted to talk to us. And I kind of positioned myself so that I'm standing in front of my daughter. And because of my body language, he basically got that my daughter is a minor. She is not a grown person. Like you are not walking up to two friends. So there is this thing, there is some adultification. Like I started developing when I was 10. So I wasn't tall, but I had body when I was young. And so, it's just the things that you have to deal with. And I didn't have to deal with, I'm 5'2". I don't think anybody found me intimidating. But my friend, I totally get that. You're a big, dark-skinned Black person. And especially in that time, like these are the things that you just learn. I don't think anybody told her. It was just in her lived experience of noticing how people respond to her that she recognized, oh, they're intimidated by this. And so I need to compensate for this in some way. It was completely organic the way it happened.
Yeah.
So
isn't that how it goes sometimes when we're in a room, we find ourselves in a room again and again? It's like words don't need to be spoken for us to recognize, like, need to alter myself in order to make this more kosher, make this more cohesive, make this more smooth.
Make yourself more palatable.
Make myself,
Right. Yeah. And this is where, as women, sometimes we get into a space of feeling like we have to shrink ourselves. Don't be too loud. Don't talk too much. Don't be too opinionated. Do you know what I mean? Because you're trying to get something from a system or a person or an authority. And so you feel like, I remember my parents used to tell me, you don't know how to play the game. And I think my attitude was like, I don't want to play the game. Why I have to play the game? So, but that's me. I'm that person. So, and
that's what we love about you. No, but especially in a political family, and a Black American political family.
Right. I remember talking to my father one day and saying, yeah, I never rode on the back of the bus. And he was like, you didn't? And I was like, yeah, no, I didn't. So I might be the only person in my immediate family. My brother is 10 years older than me. He rode the back of the bus, but I didn't.
Whoa. Whoa.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And, reading, I think just, one more touch on this, like safety and stuff for children. Like, I mean, I was talking to the same daughter about this morning because we just took her to enroll for her freshman year. She's blonde, she's tall, she has blue eyes, she wore a bright blue shirt. She chose a school that there is 11 to 13% white people. This is the high school that my daughter's about to go to. This is super rare for our area. All the other schools are predominantly white schools. And she chose this school for varying reasons. She's gotten so much warnings from people. Anytime she tells people, I chose this school, people are like, that school is ghetto, that you're going to get your ass kicked. What are you doing going to that school? And I was, watching her. We have mostly subscribed to predominantly white spaces, our church spaces, our family, of course, like, we're shifting that now. Here we are. But like, I was, she was nervous getting ready. Is she even like, as we were pulling up, she hasn't like seen who the kids are or anything. She's like, what are we doing? Are we going to get shot? Like, no, we're going to go to school. That's what we're doing. We're going to get your schedule and we're going to wander around the school for 2 hours trying to figure out where your classes are. But she stood out a lot. And like, it took time. It took like kids from different clubs, like speaking to her for her to be like, I could watch her body go, oh, right. Okay. Like, this is going to be okay. And this is the internalized racism that like, this isn't because my daughter is a hateful person against people of color. This is just literally the world that she has been dropped into. And so I was talking to her this morning about Nolan Wells and about this, that I've been now reading so many different social media platforms where people are saying this is how you should teach your children, and even specific teachings like Black mothers to Black children or mothers of color to their children, like if you're the only person of color in the room, you should leave, like things like that I'm like, we had no idea. And I'm telling my daughter this, and she's like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea. And I think it matters. Like, I go back to like, I wish somebody, 10, 15 years ago would have shook me and told me these things. Like, this is all still real. This is all still like very happening in homes.
But you have to fight people about that. You have to fight people to they think we're living post-racial America. It's like,
yeah.
Who? So
yeah, for the white people. Oh my goodness.
I also saw to what you're speaking about. I also saw a video of white women telling other white women, you have to teach your kids how to stand up for people who are different. And I thought I was like, oh, that's new. Mm-hmm. So could white parents take that on, teaching their kids that this kid is vulnerable to because of their difference, whatever that difference is. And so how do you stand up to your friends for that? It reminded me of women asking men to check their friends, right? Yeah. Like if 1 in 4 women has had some sort of, whatever the statistic is, has had some incident of sexual abuse, somebody's doing it. Likely it's one of your friends. Likely you know who that friend is.
Yeah.
But when they make the joke, when they catcall, right, when they do the inappropriate behavior, you don't say anything. You just laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like that, like taking responsibility. It's like, it's almost, if you see something, say something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just saw something recently too that was talking about like white people are afraid of black people, sure. Like they're afraid of black men, they're afraid there's, all of these different stigmas and things that we've carried for generations. But white people are way more afraid of white people. And I was leaning in at this point, like, we are. And like, what does this mean? And it was like, because when you see a racist comment or when you see something happen that in your core is wrong, you don't speak up. And I was like, damn, like, it's
Right.
real. It's real.
Very much so. Very
yeah.
much so.
Yeah. CJ and I both, my husband and I both are like struggle with people pleasing a lot. And it's a thing that we're like talking about all the time and how to change that in ourselves and how to support our children to feel empowered to speak up for themselves. But like, I mean, a lot of white communities, you speak up with something like that and you're immediately ostracized. And so it's like, you've got to be willing. Like we've talked about this many times on this show, this Black Madonna code of willingness to stand alone. You got to be willing to stand alone. It's like at some point, like compromising your values in order to belong in a space starts to feel too stifling. And you have to start putting yourself in different rooms. So that was, I really want to speak to how do we even know in our bodies when we're in the right room? When we held the Magdalene Feast Day event a few weeks ago on July 22nd, it was really beautiful and insightful. It was beautiful to watch as women exhaled. I could feel that in the room, but then someone spoke to it and she said, I've been putting myself in, a lot of rooms that have not felt like this, in pursuit of promoting her business, in pursuit of trying to grow her brand and all of these things. She's been in all these spaces with like big, they're women, but they're bro marketers to the core. Like these spaces are so rampant where you don't feel like you can fully be yourself, or you don't feel like you can really show up as in the fullness of who you are, or that's not wanted, or that's maybe even dangerous. I think about a lot of spaces I've been in like that. There was one in particular several years ago. I think it was 2021. I went to this big book signing event. It was in Vegas. It was super like bougie and luxurious, and everybody was wearing ball gowns, and there was a red carpet, and it was the whole shebang, and the speakers, all the authors were speakers, and it was just this real fancy event. And at the last minute, I had a friend who
sorry
no problem, a friend who wanted to come with me to the event. And she looked very different than everyone in the room. We got into the room. She looked very different than everyone in the room. And everyone ignored her. And people approached me for like, everyone was scanning for, can I get something from you? And so the only people who talked to her were people who wanted to get something from her, or people who recognized that maybe they could get something from her. And by the end of the evening, I was like so disconnected from my body. I went and spoke with her more about this, and I cried for like 2 hours. It was such a wake-up call because she was very used to this experience. She often looks different, but I was not. And it was a wake-up call. What kind of rooms am I putting myself in? And here I brought my friend to this room, and it was not safe for her. And I'm grateful I've had these experiences because it helps us, curate safe spaces. Yes. It's this recognition that we need rooms where we can fully be celebrated and seen in all that we are.
And that's considered woke language too. Safe spaces. Why do people need safe spaces? Like, that was a whole thing, because in colleges, different trans people, let's say, wanted a club or whatever, or at the school, so that they could have a safe space to gather and talk about the things that are important to them. So yeah, just warning you.
Yeah.
In case it shows up in the comment section.
Isn't that crazy though? Because yeah, again, you think about like people from historically marginalized groups have been talking about safe spaces for a long time.
For a long time, exactly.
Jeez. Yeah. But I think it matters. And I think the rooms that we put ourselves in matter, the social media that we subscribe to matter, the teachers that we subscribe to matter. We don't always have a choice, right? Like you might work in a corporate environment that just feels shitty and stifling. And it takes time to be able to either, change the culture or eliminate yourself from that culture to find a better culture, environment, or whatever. Like we don't always have a choice. But where we do, we should choose to be in spaces that feel the most honoring of who we are. And that is something that is really important to us as we're cultivating the meeting place, as we're cultivating the retreat to the south of France. All of those things that we're cultivating, that like the question of emotional safety, physical safety, spiritual safety is all there so that you can show up as your full self.
Yeah. Even if you're still exploring who that is.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, I think rooting back into this question, like, how do I know that I'm in the right room? How does my body know? Because our body, if we would listen more there, I think we would know a lot more rapidly if we were in safe rooms, in the right room, in the room where we could actually grow and thrive.
I agree.
Well, thanks, Deidre. And thanks for this conversation. And hey, if you're listening and you have thoughts, we want to hear from you. Reach out to us. We're grateful for those of you who have engaged with our show. And we'll see you next time on the Black Madonna Codes.